Greetings, everyone. Jonathan here from Plagiarism today, and happy Friday, everyone. I hope this week has been good to you. It's been a pretty hectic one for me, but since it's Friday, we get to chill out a little bit, take the day off, and talk about something other than copyright news. And today, the topic is video games. Specifically, over Thanksgiving weekend, Steam held the Steam Autumn Sales. Crystal and I went more than just a little bit crazy, and we got a lot of great games and spent much of the weekend playing them. So I wanted to do like 3 mini reviews. I'm hoping to get through this fairly quickly, but I know that that's not likely because I'm really passionate about at least one of these games. But anyways, so I wanted to do about 3 mini reviews of games we picked up in the Steam sales, specifically 3 games that are co-op. They're games that Crystal and I have been playing together, and want to talk about our experience with them, sort of boom, 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 real fast. Like I said, no gameplay. This is typical of these types of reviews for me. No game footage or anything like that. Just me telling you what's going on. You can listen and take it as well. By the way, my light on this side is out. That's why I'm in shadow here. Anyways, the first game I want to talk about, Iron Brigade. I really want to love this game. Everything about this game makes me want to throw myself in front of it and say how much I love it. It's a combination of tower defense and third-person shooter, two of my favorite genres that should and have been blended pretty well together in the past. And the other reason is because it's made by Double Fine, the people that made the game Psychonauts, which is one of my favorite games of all time, probably my top 5. But Psychonauts is not a flawless game. It's a game that I think exposes what Double Fine does well and what they don't do well. What Double Fine does well is the world and the humor of Psychonauts is great. It is super original. It is funny. It's a genuinely funny game. And I get sucked into the world so easily, so powerfully. It's just an amazing universe you can't wait to get back into. So bright, so colorful, and so interesting. What it doesn't do well is actual action. The controls in Psychonauts, at least on the PC version, at least on the version I had, were not flawless. I didn't notice it for most of the game. That's why you don't. That's why you mute your phone. I didn't notice it for most of the game, because most of the game, the action, the gameplay is pretty slow. It's more about puzzle solving than, fighting. And even the boss battles are more problem solving than they are action oriented. And that was fine. The controls had that slight delay, but I barely even noticed it. It was just good enough to play the game. However, I did notice it pretty heavily when I got to the end. There's a part at the end of Psychonauts, spoiler, where you're going through the circus, you're climbing, swinging on trapezes, walking tightropes, and all this stuff, and you have to do it, bam, 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 and yeah, that time I did notice the controls. That was when I picked up on that there was a small problem, because it had to be bang on, and it just wasn't. And Iron Brigade has the same flaws and the same merits too. The world and the humor are great. I love the cutscenes. I love the characters. I love the story they're telling. I love the universe they drop you in. It is great stuff. The aesthetics of the game are amazing. But this game is much more action-oriented than Psychonauts, and it has that same niggly little problem with the controls that it just doesn't feel right. I can't pinpoint what it is, but it doesn't feel natural. I'm always aware of the controls. And the co-op element of it, while definitely good, it doesn't feel any different. It doesn't feel like co-op brings something to the game that single player wouldn't. So it's a mediocre game. We played it for a few hours, beat some of the levels, had a pretty good time, but once we shut it down, we never said to each other, hey, let's play some Iron Brigade. We just haven't looked at each other and said that. It hasn't happened. So yeah, take that for what it is. Honestly, I would describe it as good, but not great, but still very original, still very much a Double Fine game. If you love Double Fine style, there's going to be some good stuff in there for you. But the other game we played in the same genre was Orcs Must Die 2. I played Orcs Must Die 1, really liked it. Wished there had been a co-op element, Orcs Must Die 2, when, hey, co-op! And now there's a co-op element. Pretty straightforward. 2 people set up traps and do whatever they can to kill orcs running down a specific path, and shoot and stab and do whatever they have to do to kill orcs that are coming down a path. It's once again a combination of tower defense. It's reluctant to call it tower defense because it's trap based, not tower based. So I don't know. It does change the gameplay slightly. But anyways, this one feels a little better. The universe is very funny. The aesthetics of the game are very pleasing to me. And the controls, though they were initially a little loose, once you dialed back the sensitivity on the mouse looks like, ah! And you're trying to shoot one of those little bastards that runs through and it's like, come back here and let me kill you properly. And It's very frustrating at first, but once you dial it back and you get the sensitivity into the comfort zone of what a third-person shooter probably should be, it works pretty well. That being said, I have a problem with the upgrade system in this game, and that upgrades are pretty hard to come by, and they're pretty grind heavy. I mean, there are upgrades you can get for few skulls, by the way, being the currency of upgrades, but they don't really change the gameplay. They upgrade your trap, but they don't impact it in a meaningful way. I mean, I can't honestly tell you playing the game the difference between level 1 of a trap and level 3 for most of these. And I know they probably do more damage, they spring more often, but it just doesn't feel like there's any difference. There's nothing noticeable. One of the things I like about an upgrade system is you buy some upgrades and you go back in, you do it again, and see how it changes things, and you don't get that feeling. And the upgrades are so expensive and so grind heavy that you don't really get to do much with them initially. And none of the upgrades seem to really change the gameplay style. Compare this to a game like Payday the Heist, which has a very similar long-term grind-heavy upgrade tree. But you get a series of upgrades right off the bat, and you can invest those upgrades into one of the three if you didn't get the expansion. Get the expansion on Payday, people. But one of the skill trees, and you get to change how you're going to play the game. Are you going to be a soldier? Are you going to be a technician? Are you going to be support? You can change how you play the game pretty quickly, and the impact actually is pretty obvious from the get-go. But that being said, Orcs Must Die 2, great game, having a lot of fun with it. We've been going back to it occasionally. Really enjoy it, and highly recommend it. It's a fun game, but it's like a weird cross between a casual and a hardcore game. You're going to play it casually, maybe in a few hours at a time, but you're going to play it every day and get better and better at it. That's the idea. That's how it's meant to be played in short bursts over a long period of time. And the third game, and this is outside the genre, is Torchlight 2. And man, am I glad to be talking about this game. Crystal and I are huge fans of action RPGs. Big fan of the Diablo series. We've played Diablo 1 and 2, both expansion packs, all the way through. In some cases, multiple times. In the case of Diablo 2, multiple times. Same thing for Dungeon Siege 1 and 2. Played them, all expansion packs, multiple times. Wow, let's see, Titan Quest and the expansion pack, beaten. Let's see, we even played Sacred, even though we didn't particularly care for it. Never gotten to Neverwinter Nights, actually. That was the one we never could really get into. Maybe we need to make another run at it, but we never really got lost in Neverwinter Nights. Yeah, we love the genre of the action RPG, have a lot of fun with it, and we both enjoyed Torchlight 1, but we had to enjoy it separately because there was no co-op. And of course, the big upgrade in Torchlight 2 is a expanded world, much bigger, and co-op. And the co-op is done so well in this game. I was worried that since this was their first co-op outing, it'd be flawed. No. It is almost bang-on, flawless co-op. I like how you get your own loot, the same way Diablo 3 does it. And I really enjoy the way it handles co-op in general. I mean, we found a bug with experience where the person who's not doing as much is getting more experience than the person who is. Not sure why. We've hit upon it a few times. But other than that, the experience has been pretty much bang on. And I gotta say, it was really great after both Dungeon Siege 3 and Diablo 3, largely disappointed. We haven't actually played Dungeon Siege 3 and Diablo 3, to be honest, and go and get the disclaimers out there. But after reading that Dungeon Siege 3 was a very different game and that a lot of people were unhappy with Diablo 3, we passed on. We're going to come back to Diablo 3 eventually, but we're going to wait for the price to drop and when we got a little more time. But all in all, this has been a great game, and I think this is my favorite of the action RPG genre, period, right now. I mean, I really can't think of a game I enjoyed more. We're almost done with the first campaign. And I think we've already decided that when we end that, we're going to go through it again with 2 different classes and just keep banging on this game for a while. It's a fun game. Highly recommend it. And best of all, they fixed the other complaints about Torchlight. The somewhat monotonous world in Torchlight, gone, huge and varied. And it's just a really solid action RPG all around. The guys at Runic did a really good job with this one. Can't say enough good things about Torchlight 2. So that's it. If you're into tower defense / shooter hybrids, I recommend Orcs Must Die 2. Iron Brigade is great if you're into Double Fine and kind of their universe, their style of game, if you will. And Torchlight 2, if you like action RPGs and you're into co-op and you don't have Torchlight 2, you're missing out. That's all I'm saying. Well, on that note, everyone, way over on time. Sorry about that, everyone. So this is Jonathan Bailey signing off.